I'm not sure if you saw this. I'm going to ask this to you first, Neil. Tammy Abraham's girlfriend has decided to go public about this. She's posted it on her Instagram, knowing full well the entire world's going to pick up on it, because Chelsea are a huge club. She wrote this: "How on earth do you make the decision to leave your top goal scorer out of the squad for a final? The same person who even scored the goals to actually qualify for this competition. It's not making any sense to me whatsoever. Not even on the bench, question mark. This has to be a joke." Just to remind you, Tammy Abraham did get a hat-trick, and he got the only goal against Barnsley in their 1-0 victory. I think that was in the 5th round. Is it surprise you that Tammy wasn't involved today? And how much damage does this do to Thomas Tuchel? Because when you're managing a big club, and you yourself have managed Celtic, Bolton, Hibs, when someone comes out to post something, the fans are going to pick up on it, and it's going to be a nightmare for the manager to deal with.
Yeah, it's not ideal, particularly, you know, after a very sore defeat. The bottom line is, you know, Abraham hasn't played that much in the Premier League or the Champions League, Adam, and you know, he doesn't look like he's part of Thomas Tuchel's plans. I don't think they lost the game today because Tammy Abraham wasn't playing. For me, he maybe could have put Giroud on a little bit earlier, because they were just starting to run out of ideas by, you know, trying to play through Leicester all the time. Werner was, you know, pretty ineffective in the second half. He touched on the decision making of Werner as well in the first half. But from, you know, it doesn't help when, you know, you live in this social media world and wives and girlfriends get involved. I can understand the young lady's frustrations, but you have to respect the manager's decision. And maybe Tammy's future is going to be elsewhere. It looks that way. But certainly didn't lose the cup final because, you know, Tammy Abraham wasn't playing, that's for sure. And they're, you know, in the top 4, they're in the Champions League final, and Tammy's contribution has not been that much of late. Yes, he scored goals along the way, you know, Barnsley and maybe Luton, but, you know, we're talking about, you know, Premier teams, Man City, to beat in the semi-final, and obviously Leicester as well. And Tuchel doesn't feel as if Tammy's at the level.
Quick one, Mario, on this, because he is, technically speaking, correct. The top scorer is still Tammy Abraham. Him and Timo Werner have got 12 goals in all competitions. Joint top scorer in the Premier League as well, with 6 goals. That's been the issue for the Blues this entire campaign, finding the back of the net. And it's come back to haunt them again here today. What about the Tammy Abraham issue? Should he have at least made the squad?
Yeah, no, look, what we just talked about, and Neil mentioned it, he said, like, look, this was not a game that I would say, like, oh, Tammy could have, he could have affected the game if he was part of the game, of course, but I don't want to say, like, this game was lost because he wasn't part of it. No, I don't believe in that. And the other part is as well, when we talk about wives or girlfriends, I've never been in the situation that I allowed my missus to talk to any of the press situation, because I make my decisions and I don't want her to get involved. That was my point of view. Look, if he changed that and he lets his missus talk, I'm like, you know, I come from managers, they will not respect that. One thing, they will pull me to the side and they go like, hey, are you making the decisions, or do you want someone else to make them for you so they can also play the game for you? That's what they will say to me. And that's why I never wanted that conversation with, like, a Ranieri would have been like that, because Ranieri did that. He will make jokes to us. He said, hey, if you want to have a big mouth, do that at home with your wife. Don't do it here in the dressing room. Or like I was with Steve Bruce, typical English. He didn't allow that too. And then Van Gaal, we already mentioned. So when it comes to that situation, that's my answer to it. I always say, like, yeah, have a conversation with your partner, and do it privately, and don't let that person get involved into your football, because she is never going to win. That is one of the things I will tell you. She's never going to win. And who is then the loser eventually? The player, because he's got to face the critics, and it's never going to be cute for him.
Yeah,
it's not a good look for Mario, is it?
No, it does not look good. It does not look good to anything. Dressing room, players among the other players, among your captain or your coach, owners of the club. No, leave that out. Leave that out. Look, emotionally, I understand her. I would be the same. If Tammy would have been my nephew or my brother, I would have thought the same like her. But would I open my mouth? No.